Hello, I'm Becky Walsh. There's lots of things going around in the media at the moment talking about how to make women feel safe in the streets, and I just want to give you a personal perspective on something you probably haven't ever heard me talk about. When I was backpacking in Australia, I was jumped from behind by a man. I mean, to be honest, he kind of made his intentions fairly clear by shouting at me from the other side of the street whilst masturbating. I think my line was, "Seriously, my baby brother's bigger than that," despite not having a baby brother. You kind of front stuff out, really. No matter how scared you are, sometimes that's the way you roll. And he crossed the road, and I knew I couldn't outrun him. I just turned around and looked at him and I said, "This is a little cliche, isn't it? Dark night, girl alone." And I knew that when I turned my back on him, he was going to jump me. So I turned my back on him, I was ready for him, he jumped me. And you think when someone attacks you that you're going to be, "I'm going to punch him in the balls, I'm going to smash him in the face, I'm going to blah, blah, blah." No, you don't. None of that. I think the one calculated shot I got was an elbow to the face. After that, you're just batshit crazy, just nails, teeth. I ripped his ear, with my teeth, I went nuts. And shouting, but I went nuts to the point where I got him on the floor, and there was a voice in my head that went, "If you continue, he will get over the shock of the counter attack and you're done," because his size was so much greater than mine. So once I'd got him on the back foot and he was in shock and hurting and in pain, I got up and legged it. Police were called. They knew who he was. He'd got out of an institution, and they said, "Listen, love, he's never going to touch another woman again, even if she begged him," which is my terrible Australian accent. That's how I remember him saying it in his head. And they said if I wanted to take it further, the chances are he could prosecute me. Oops. I absolutely did the right thing. And if he never wants to touch another woman again because he got a surprise of a woman beating the shit out of him, then that's perfectly fine by me. But it leaves an impact, you know, and this is the thing that I really want to talk about, not how amazingly heroic I am, because actually I got lucky. That was luck. That was luck. And the fact that my mum was attacked when she was younger, and she explained to me how she also beat up that person, and I had that hardwired in my head. And my brother as well, he's always been, you just fight and you fight and you fight. So when you've got that hardwired in your head, you don't go into a freeze response, you go straight into fight. And I would advise everybody, think through what you would do in that scenario so that you don't go into a freeze response, that you have it already set out in your body what you would do. So I think that that's where I got lucky. But now I walk down the street, and if somebody is walking quite closely behind me, a lot of the advice is saying if a woman speeds up, then she's feeling frightened. Actually, if a woman slows down, because we don't want you behind us, we want you to overtake. So what I do is I slow down. There was an incident the other day where I slowed down. The guy overtook me, which is great, although he slowed down as well, which is, like, oh, come on, just overtake. So he overtook, and then he got a little bit further up, and he stopped and opened his rucksack. Now, this is quite late at night. This is when we could go out, by the way. So this is like, you know, way before COVID. And he was checking through his bag. Now I've got to overtake him, and also I don't know what he's about to get out of his bag. So I decided to walk in the road. And you might think that's crazy, but that's one of the safest places you can be, even when there's cars coming, especially if you're wearing light clothes, is walking down the middle of the road. Strangely though, the car I was waiting to go past me, it was the police who saw me walking along the parking side, and they stopped and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Actually, I'm really spooked." And I said, just there's a guy, and I don't think he means any harm, but because I've been attacked before, I'm triggered and I'm spooked. And they took me home in a police car. Neighbours, oh my God, I'm being taken home by the police. Which was great, and it was great that they did that, because they can spot a woman in distress as I was. So what I would say is just wide berth, you know, because I'm not going to talk about that other incident, but there was a very famous friend of mine, and I won't mention her name, but I had another incident where I was playfully attacked by a group of actors who were trying to get my top off when I was working in theatre, and they pinned me to the floor and tried ripping off my top. And this actress came running in and she started fighting with them. And she was screaming, "You never know what's happened to her. You never know what's happened to her." And so I think that that's important, because we don't always talk about these things, and you won't always know what's happened to somebody. So you can't always assume that the woman walking in front of you that you just need to overtake is walking very slowly, that she hasn't been attacked or that something hasn't happened to her before. And it's the same for your relationships as well. I don't know any woman really that hasn't had something happen, and that sounds awful. Believe me, my me too is extraordinary. So all I would say is, hopefully you've taken some nuggets of thought, opinion and advice from this, but don't always assume that a woman will walk faster when she's nervous. Sometimes she slows down, just so that she's got a bit more balance to beat the good. That's not what I mean. Okay, yeah, don't come across me on a dark and stormy night. Keep well, keep safe. All right, take care. Bye.